Alright guys, hello and welcome back to another episode of not Hidarashi, Raging Loop. Last time we learned a lot about how the feast actually works. Obviously the feast and the dreamer situation is different. I guess the dreamer's using the feast to do something. I assume the Midorumas and the rest of the villagers aren't working with the dreamer, and the dreamer's just using this as an opportunity. But yeah, we're just gonna see something completely new now. So let's see what options we have. We know we have something here. Do we have enough for the outhouse? I don't think so, because we didn't do the number 6 one. Yeah, we're missing 19 for the outhouse, and that's it, right? 19, slip through infiltration. Wouldn't be there. 16 we did. I thought there was something else, but maybe not. 20 was, yeah, that's how we got 9. Eh. Eh. Okay. So now all that's left is sits and the toilet and then the final option at us. So we're almost done. Key gathering, that is. 23. Okay, this is what they... No, this can't be what they originally said because we didn't have the 3 key, right? So that's different, I think. Let me just check. Maybe I'm wrong. I swear they sent us to here first, right? Oh, no. It must have been... I don't know. It's been a little bit since the ending. I guess that is it. Alright. And then we just need the 19 key. So we must get the 19 key from this, and then we can either do outhouse or despair? I don't know which one you do first. Probably outhouse, since it's less keys. Wait, do we have all of them? Because we're missing 2 keys. We're missing 19 and something. Maybe. Hold on. We're missing 1. What's needed for the outhouse? No, I guess 20 was the first one it had to be. We're missing 19. So then when the fuck do you need 1? You don't need 1 for the last one either. Alright, let's do the trap thing. Go in order of least keys needed, I guess. Okay.
皆さんから見れば僕なんじゃないですか。こんな時に外から来て素性も知れなくて。
てめえがうさんくさいのと
Okay.
かどうかは関係ねえ。
So this is when we tell Kanzo about, like we put some fake Yasunada news in there. So we're gonna tell him something different this time. That's the context, right? Considerate response from him? Something wasn't right here. What was I to do here? Got it. Yeah, let's just get some info. We don't need to win this one. At least now, we don't. That was right. I just remembered. Yeah, and Kanzo was someone we wanted to talk about. Or I wanted to. I think I mentioned that before, since he knows about past feast stuff. And I'm guessing the outhouse one has to do with the old man then. We're just going in order. And probably the final one has to do with Rikako, since she's still alive before the monster spawns. And she's probably the dreamer, right? That was right, I just remembered. Did my memories carry over in a weird way because of the method from back then was weird? Well, then again, this wouldn't be the first time my memories didn't carry over properly. Maybe I should have counted myself lucky for remembering at all. I gotta imagine, like, maybe after we do everything, maybe a whole new route starts, because even if you do the last one, like, people are still dead, so it's not really a good ending. I assume, like, with all the knowledge we got, we probably do a new route. Just stressing that. Well, then again, this wouldn't be the first time my memories didn't carry over properly. Maybe I should have counted myself lucky for remembering at all. I had tons of things to think about. About the beast in the village. Yeah, that was never explained when we were going over the Higuruma stuff. The giant monster, that too. The dream enveloping Fujiyoshi, as well as the looping the sheep had told me about. But this wasn't the time to worry about that, I guess. It's time for Haru lore. The old man before me was the one who survived the past tragedies in Fujiyoshi, and that lore. With the old wolf guy being a pain to talk to, I had to rely on him instead. Okay, maybe we'll get old wolf guy from him instead, which made sense. How can we really, like, investigate him? Since he's crazy. But how was I supposed to talk to him? It looked like there was just one way.
僕ですよ。
うん。
狼は
Ooh.
僕です。
Upon hearing that,
てめえが狼だと。
he didn't take out his gun. His expression showed nothing but total confusion.
わかりますよ。あなたの経験では、狼は絶対に自首しない。もちろん、人は嘘をつかない。とりわけ自滅的な嘘は。だからあなたは
Definitely not
真意が読めない
good
んだ。
game theory.
黙
Unless
れ
there's a jester roll where you want to get hanged. He finally pointed his gun at me, but his lateness told me just how hesitant he was. I controlled the pace of the conversation.
僕がこれを明かしたのは、僕がこの村の外で育ったものだからですよ。僕は神様の呪縛にはかかっていませんから。
Not yet, anyway.
ん
通じないか。まあいいです。とにかく、あなたがこれまで見てきたのは、
I
よそ
thought,
者のいない閉鎖的
does
な
it-
宴でしょ。
I was gonna say maybe Kanzo was a wolf in the past. And that's why he was trying to do the god's influence, because the wolves are kind of controlled a little bit.
あなたの経験は、よそ者が混じった宴には通用しない。まあ、あまり警戒しないでください。僕に敵意はありません。
I sat down on the ground, extending my hurting leg forward.
撃っても構いませんよ。ただ、過半数の合意を得ずに殺しをすれば、たとえ一日一冊の制限内でも違反になる。ご存知とは思いますが。
That's not even true. Is it? I mean, maybe it is. Because in the past, I don't know if they even did the voting, but I guess they still had like a majority approval, technically, even if it wasn't like systemized like voting, right? I confirmed that during my looping with Shami.
脳ガキはいい。てめえ
ようって言うんじゃないですよ。僕は、あなたに同情してるんです。
あ
I had to apologize to the Kairi-san and Haru-chan of this timeline.
おじいさんと孫で殺し合わなきゃならないなんて、ひどい話です。僕は、そんな局面で自分だけが生き残りたいなんて思えないんですよ。だから、あなたに直接聞きに来たんです。
てめえ今なんつった。
おじいさんと孫で殺し合わなきゃならない。
Could have just said it normally,
うん
putting some artistic flair to it. He didn't fire, but he sent a solid kick flying at my solar plexus, knocking the wind from my lungs.
てめえは狼だから嘘を言っとる。
もし、そうなら、僕はそもそも正体を明かさない。
Should be if that's the case, but that's alright.
まあ、わかりますが、僕は確かに狼ですし、話してることは全て真実ですよ。
ならばなぜ言った。
こう言えば納得しますか。孫を殺したくないなら、他の人を皆殺しにしてください。
Another kick, it came for my face and hit my head, making me see stars.
狼はくくる孫でも。
ええ、あなたはそう言うでしょう。僕は構いません。そっちが選ばれても。 しかしそれは本気ですか？僕は命を懸けてここにいます。ただ一つ、あなたと腹を割って話したいから。だから、あなたも腹を割って話していただけませんか？僕はただ、納得して死にたいだけだ。そのために、あなたに聞きたい。これまでに参加してきた宴の経験則。あなたの人生観を支えてきた鉄の掟を取るのか、それとも孫を取るのか。教えてください。牧島勘三さん。
てめえは信用できねえ。
Of course he couldn't. But he didn't ignore or kill me either.
座られたらどうですか？どうせ僕は今、一人では動けません。時間はまだあるでしょう。
He silently sat down right before me, cross-legged. The conversation was slow and sporadic. He asked if I and Haruchan really were wolves over and over again. Well, what he was mostly conflicted about was whether or not to harm his granddaughter after all. Thus, I said this.
少し安心しました。
なんじゃ。
あなたがちゃんと悩んでいる。狼になった途端、殺人をためらわなくなった春ちゃんと違って。
春がそうなっ。
ええ。香織さんもね。反対した僕は逆に殺されそうになりました。
狼になればどんなものでもここ春までなぜ。
あなたはこれまでの宴ではずっと人
It's
側だったん
important
です
to
ね。
know. I'm guessing he was now, though.
前のことを教えてくれませんか？
Good. This is good stuff. Thus he started talking. Feast lore. He participated in 2 feasts in the past. This was his 3rd. That sucks. But as far as he knew, there was another feast before that. It happened about 6 years ago, shortly after he was born. The mists came and many died. It coincided with World War II, and that's when the feast started changing, right? Youths from both Kami Fujiyoshi and Yasumizu were drafted to the battlefield, so most of the ones who died in the feast were the elderly, women, and children. After that, Yasumizu, which once had dozens of people, quickly deteriorated. Deaths weren't the only cause, some just fled.
その時のことはよくわからん。ただ後々年寄りどもは口々にあんなはずはなかったと言うておった。
どういう意味でしょうか？
知らん。狼が本当に出るとは誰も思うておらんかった。
Which indicates the one near World War II wasn't planned by the elders, probably. Or the heads, I mean. His explanation was so full of holes that I didn't really understand. However, it seemed like until the event during the war, the Feast of the Yomi Purge wasn't considered a paranormal event. Most couldn't believe that the Ukami had actually appeared. It shocked everyone. They began to think they had angered the mountain. Some of the elderly believed that the Fujiyoshi blood spilled in the war had awakened the wolves. It happened just 6 years ago, but it greatly spread the darkness of the local superstition. Apparently, something that happened in Yasumizu at that time helped too. Kanzo-san just said that people were killed, and I couldn't tell whether Kanzo-san didn't know the details, or if he found it so detestable he didn't want to say it. Whatever the case, the main topic of conversation happened a while after that. It was the other 2 feasts, the one he participated in. He said that there were no mists for a whole 40 years after the feast in the war. The war ended during this time, and though some tried to fix it, Yasumizu was in an awful state. People died, the workforce lost, poverty became worse, some still living went to work away from home, causing the place to deteriorate even further. However, Kanzo-san felt that the main cause of this awful state was the darkness of superstition clouding the locals' hearts. Kanzo-san could remember how, when he was young, everyone just worked the fields with cloth over their faces, constantly afraid of something. Those cloths were an item used in the mountain Shinai festival. Their purpose was to prevent eye contact with Yomibito. Though Kanzo-san himself used it to keep the sun out of his eyes and prevent his game from sensing his vision. Yeah, added some extra practicality to that. I liked it. But at the core, it was an unreasonable tool born of superstition. Anyway, as the village became more and more unreasonable, the mist came. It happened about 15 years ago. At that time, Tai-san and Chiemi, who was still in her first year of elementary school, were participating in an event in Kamifujiyoshi, so they ended up avoiding the incident. The two village heads who were in Yasumizu right now weren't here to begin with, while Takumi-san was already an adult working away from home. Haru-chan was born just a year before, and since her parents were on vacation, she'd also avoided the tragedy.
旅行ですか？小さい子を連れて休みずから。
Yeah, that's usually not prime vacation time for children.
嫁は学校の先生じゃった。実家が隣町で里帰りよ。
なるほど。しかしよく外の者を休みずに嫁入りさせる決心がつきましたね。ギリギリよそ者じゃないってとこですか？
もちろん、よう思わんものは多かった。
Classic tie.
レバーもぶつくさ言うたものよ。
あなたは反対しなかったんですか？
逆よ。この時期向こうの里に行けるなら安心じゃろう。逃げられたのはその時だけじゃったが。
Anyway, the only ones who experienced that feast and were still alive were Kanzo-san and the old wolf guy.
今のと何も変わらん宴じゃった。皆最初はくくりたがらん。狼は迷わず血祭りを始める。カゴ者が名乗れば偽物も立つ。疑い合ってしまいには票で決める。掟に挑んだ者もおった。逃げて山ん中で死んだり、物意味をせんで死んだり。この宴で樋口の跡取りも死んだ。
Oh, okay.
織部の
That's when he died.
安谷吉野。
But I thought they were sent here because he died in the Higuchi didn't want Kairi and the sons. So I guess he was here for some other reason. I'd heard of that. He was killed by the wolves on the first day. He was either wise enough for the wolves to see him as a threat, or they just hated him. Both were likely, but I didn't care about that now.
どうして長者であった彼が休みずへ？
奴は休みずにまともな水場を作ると言うて一人で乗り込んできよった。
And since we know the feasts have been planned by the heads, specifically the Midoruma, maybe for some whatever reason they sent him there to die from the feast.
井口の中の争いで面倒を任されたに決まっとるが。
狙ったような時期に。
実際この時期に休みず送りはよくある。
True, they were just trying to
そうじゃ。
get us to get killed. Thanks, Higuchi. Well, that was the Higuchi, specifically for us
いやしか
anyways.
し、よそ者を
Probably
この
not
時
for
期
the
に呼ぶことは
Higuchi
少
head.
なかったのでは？
そいつは確かだ。そもそも記者やらが休みずに入ったのが。
They sent the journals to get killed? I feel like that would be bad press. Feels like bad timing for them. The fact that outsiders were invited at all was way more suspicious than the timing of it. Anyway, about 10 people died in the feast, and Yasumizu lost a third of its population. It was awful. Kanzo-san was just a human without any guardian. Half of the participants were old people who'd either experienced the last feast or were in the war. Naturally, they would make awfully cruel decisions, and some tried to go against the rules, leading to severe punishments at the hands of the corruption.
わしは何もできねえで。 ただ恐ろしいのを隠してむっつり黙っとった。その時の一番のじじいが言った。肝臓てめえ、
Damn.
見とけ。わしらが
It's kind of hardcore.
狼に血祭りにされよったがの。
狼は誰だったんですか？
3匹のうち2匹
What?
は今だ。わ
The
から
other
ん。
two died from corruption?
じゃが最後にくくったのはトールのわしのせがれと同い年の息子。今思い出してもゾッとする。あの器量のええ娘が鬼みてえな面でわしらを呪いながら縄にかかって落ちる時のその面をよ。
I knew that feeling well due to all my looping, but I couldn't really say it.
その後残ったもんで宴の始末して、もちろんあのじじいはフラフラしてやがっ
Bro's
た
always been crazy. The old wolf guy.
戻ってきたタイバーとせがれたちには事故が起きた。じゃが心配するな、そう言って聞かせた。
Besides the dead people.
小せえちいはビビってしばらく塩ラッシュになったもんよ。わしを夜便所に呼んだりして。じきに匠が戻ってきて、織部の神さんが安連れて休みぞ送りにされてきた。腹にそれが初めの宴よ。
ちなみに宴が始まる前に安水で何か事件は起きませんでしたか？
なんじゃそれは。
何でもいいです。長者が目に留めそうな大きな事件なら。
その何年か前、ここら中で病が流行った。ありゃひどかった。
The thingy? Or is it too early for that? What they say it was? Chlamydia? No, cholera. Cholera. I knew it wasn't chlamydia. Cholera. Was it that though?
それは何
Oh,
の病気で
guess
した
we're
か？
about to learn.
知らん。ひでえ
Yeah,
腹下し
cholera.
の病
Okay.
だ。
Was that relevant?
じゃあその次の宴というのは。
Kinda.
8年前、大雨の後、霧が出た。野里の工事現場が崩れて、何人だか埋まってから宴が始まった。
I already knew some things about that feast. During it, the children, Tai-san and Kari-san, were in Kami Fujiyoshi, and had killed Haru-chan's parents. Gen-san, one of the survivors, mentioned something about the badger, and Haru-chan somehow survived the mist. Kanzo-san added more information to that. Takumi-san had been working away from home again, lucky for him, and Kanzo-san was the crow. He was doing some cool stuff. He was absolutely certain that his son Toru Matashima, she was a wolf. That's a bummer, dude.
せがれは、せがれもカラスだと
Oof.
名乗りやがった。
That sucks.
嫁が富子が泣きおる前で、わしとせがれは罵り合い、てめえが狼だとわめ。それで姉妹にはあいつと並んで投票させられた。
Yeah, since Matsushima at that time had the sway too, right?
あいつじゃった。
He's already kind of the leader of Yasumizu.
最後まであいつは言い続けた。自分が本物のカラスじゃと。それで親父が狼じゃとまっすぐな目で。
Played the game until the end, just to try to put some suspicion on Kanzo.
わしは自分がカラスでなけりゃ信じたろう。その時もただジジイとババアがあいつに入れただけでわしもくくられる瀬戸際よ。それでその晩に一人血祭りになって、
The wife.
あとは
Oh
わしを
no.
狼じゃと思って殺そうとしたか。物意味を破
Yikes.
った嫁の富子が汚れを受けて。
That is pretty bad.
朝、霧が晴れた。
なんですって。血祭りの後に何もしていないのに、霧が晴れた？
Did they even handle the wolves? Same with the last feast too. They said they only caught one wolf. I just thought they just died from corruption. Maybe they did. I mean, that kind of confirms it, because I'm pretty sure, like, since they pushed you to this one, maybe you should have read this one before the Nosato one, but it just kind of confirms that the heads are using the feasts to either population control or take out people they don't like. So maybe once they took out like enough targets they wanted to take out, they can just end the feast early, which is interesting. Her transparent final moment spurred some emotion from me, but I had to comment on that.
本当に血祭りでしたか？狼が何か間違えて、汚れを受けただけじゃ。
いいや、斧の一発、綺麗なもんよ。
その時までに、確実に葬っていた狼は何人いました？
狼3匹のうち、せがれだけよ。
Yeah, I
わ
think
しには分かった。
this just confirms what I said, that the elders just ended the feast when they thought they killed enough people or their targets were killed. The mist cleared with 2 wolves still alive? That was supposed to be impossible. The feast rules didn't allow that. Wolves could only die during the day, and since one of them killed someone during the night, the wolves had to be alive. Excuse me. They also didn't really explain during the Nosato bit, like, the whole dreaming thing. Like, they kind of explained how, like, the role, like, the snake checked people and stuff like that, but the whole wolf dream with everyone in the hill is still a little sus. Like, maybe you can do it with drugs or something, but yeah. Yet the mist cleared despite that. That was supposed to be impossible. Or maybe it was unnatural to assume that the mist, a natural phenomenon, was directly linked with the feast, a man-made one. If the mist was actually somehow controlled by humans, then maybe it wasn't unlikely for it to clear due to some mistake. Or it could have been a mistake, I guess. It would make sense if that happened this time. It would also explain the Gensan thing. If he'd been a wolf and accidentally survived... that's how you know about the badger when not even Kanzo, like, hasn't really heard of it before. Interesting. That made sense, actually. It would solve the contradiction of Kanzo-san, a human, still being alive, while a wolf was able to leave that crucial bit of info. If there was a way to control the mist, it probably wasn't linked to the control of the loop. Now, we know that's separate things. Still, maybe it'd be useful. I keep this in mind.
はるちゃんのことは？
わしは聞いただけじゃ。春はせがれがくくられた晩に休みずに入ったかもしれん。が、誰も王者おらん。
The evening when her father was getting hanged is crazy timing.
その次の日、霧が晴れたんですよね。
Had the mist cleared because of God?
とにかく、それで宴が終わって。
匠も呼び戻して、また始末よ。
Imagine getting a call while you're out working. It's like, hey, Tatsumi, can you come back home? We need to clean some bodies up.
それで、はるちゃんがおかしくなって。
Respectfully weird.
わしはただ事故じゃと言った。お前の父ちゃんと母ちゃんは霧に巻かれて崖から落ちて死んだと言えるわけがねえ。父ちゃんが狼になって母ちゃんが細切れになったなんぞ言えるわけがねえ。
I mean, that's understandable. Probably shouldn't tell a child that. Kanzo-san was unusually talkative. The strange wolf before him made the rough, silent old man reveal things he'd wanted to take to his grave.
あなたは ただし、
それでも春にとっちゃ親が亡くなったことは変わらん。春はおかしゅうなった。
狼付きですか。
それもよ。じゃが素直なええ子じゃったから
Edgy.
すねたわがままな子に
I
なって
mean, that could just be teenage pheromones, but obviously not.
あんな
Kind of just
格
sounds like
好
a
をして
teenager, though.
あの時に持っとった水筒を未だ
Bottle?
に下げておる。
I don't know what bottle he's talking about. The clothes are drippy, though. Don't diss the clothing.
それは、どうかな。
ん
狼付きの件はともかく、彼女の態度や趣味が変わったように感じられるのは、あ
Okay.
なたの
I
気
mean,
のせいかも
yeah.
しれません。
The way he described it just sounds like a teenager.
あるいは、あなたがハルちゃんに対して壁を作っていたから、彼女も同
That
じよう
too.
にしただけかもしれない。
てめえに何がわかる。
わかります。同じ狼ですよ。あなたが知れない彼女の内面を。彼女はびっくりするくらい素直です。いや、貪欲と言ってもいい。言われたこと、与えられたものをどんどん取り込んで、したたかに成長する。才覚と嫌味なしに、いい子、いい人間です。こんなことがなければ交際を申し込みたいほど魅力のある少女です。
Harati, she's in high school, buddy. You got other options.
事件の後、彼女に真相を蹴取られることを恐れて、距離を取って何も与えることをしなくなったのは、あなたじゃないんですか、カンゾーさん。
You didn't get mad at me. You know, it's the truth. He cast his eyes down. This wasn't the energetic, strong hunter I knew, but an old man caught in the throes of regret. What a shame. It was so sad that this would become nothing but a dream. This exchange that could perhaps remove the wall between the old man and his granddaughter would be gone. Yeah, we can work out the kinks after. Also, I want to learn more about what the old wolf guy was doing in the feasts. I hope we get back to that. Oh well. I'd have to solve it all anyway. I try to fix their family relations too. It wasn't necessary for Haru-chan and I to be wolves for my words to resonate with him.
狼3匹のうちせがれだけよ。カラスのわしにはあんな格好をして。
I don't know what the bottle is, though.
未だに下げておる。
I can't remember it on her drip if she had it. He also solved a few more mysteries. This was a good time to end it. Wait, what's the bottle? What's the bottle? Also, what about the old man? We didn't get any information from him besides that he was there. We didn't even ask any questions about him. I thought going into this was one of his main points he was trying to do. So maybe we are gonna have to learn about him. Either that, I mean, if he's he can't be prevalent during the big monster because he's dead. So maybe in the outhouse we'll learn about it. This was a good time to end it.
さて、カンゾーさん、そろそろ戻らなきゃ。みんなが心配します。
肩貸せ。連れて行く。
何を寝ぼけてるんですか？
ん？
あなたには、狼を殺すか、人を裏切って人を皆殺しにするか、その二択。だったら、今僕を殺すか、僕をここに置いて、皆を殺しに行くか。そのどちらかでいいはずでしょう。あなたが、ハルちゃんを大事に思っていることは、十分わかりました。かといって、僕と香織さんと、ハルちゃんを殺せば、最低限の犠牲で勝利できる。投票にしろ殺人にしろ、あなたならそれができる。織部兄弟や匠さんや、ご老人たちや、長者たち。
Wow.
彼らにも罪はないんです。
Not the heads, but Nosato's at least innocent.
あなたは、それを決められる立場にある。宴でやらなきゃとか、眠いことを言わないでください。
You know, if you think about it, Rikato basically stays alive. Just going back to her dreamer. I don't know if I made this point, but she does also kind of stay alive until the end. Like in the first route, she was the Yomi Biro thing, but she didn't die. Second route, obviously, she dies in both the ends, but makes it to the end. And then the third route, she's kind of alive when the monster spawns, so Meito's not the only one who always survives. I just didn't really consider Rikato because the whole Yomi Biro thing in the first route is kind of like a death, but who knows what's actually happening to her if she really did suck up Shami's corruption. Because, like, how would that work? If she, like, why would she? I mean, she would do that if she was the dreamer because she wants. We talked about this, I think, last episode. She would want Shami to stay alive as long as possible to make different changes, right? That's why she's so close to Haruaki, Shami, and Meito. At least that's what I said last time, which I still think kind of made sense, so.
まあ、宴で同意を経て殺さないと、汚れを受けるんですけどね。ただ、あなたはきっと、汚れ覚悟で、人か狼かを皆殺しにかかることを選ぶでしょう。ハルちゃんのために死ぬなら命はなくなるし、ハルちゃんを殺して自分が生き残る選択は、あなたはしないはずだ。
Probably true, also.
わしにはわからん。てめえ、一体何を考えてる?
Will the sheep get mad at me if I said I just wanted to die quickly and naturally and move on to the next time? Well, if the sheep didn't get mad at you for revealing the whole shebang to Nosato, I'm sure you're fine. Though again, I guess technically since we... Oh, actually, whatever. It literally doesn't matter. That was the absolute truth. But the thing I really wanted to say now was...
牧島勘三さん、僕はね、あなたが善人でないと困るんです。正しいと思う選択をしてください。
With that done, I closed my eyes. After a long, long period of hesitation, I heard a metallic sound come from his rifle. His breathing was already steady. He'd made his decision. It'd be bad for me if I just died here and there's no loop. However, I did find it sad that this man's resolve would become nothing but a dream. So right, we got some information, a lot less than I thought we would get, to be honest. Especially with the old wolf guy, man. He's still like the last key. The last sliver of hope that maybe Rikako isn't the dreamer. We learned nothing about him, except that he was crazy since 3 feasts ago, if you include this one. Like, we don't know. I guess he might have been from the World War. The future in the World War, which Kanzo was just a baby. But we know nothing about him still. Bad ending number 22. I will watch the hint order. See what the sheep has to say. But yeah, for information, I mean, I guess if you're just comparing it to the Nosato one, a lot less. But the Nosato one was just kind of crazy full of information. So... And it was the 19th key, so we can do Outhouse next, obviously. First a mass shot. So I guess that means Kanzo didn't shoot Haru and Kaori? But I don't know. Alluded to, but we didn't actually get too much as well. Though it is... I guess it's possible that maybe the heads stopped the feasts, the previous feast before this one, because Haru-chan got inside, and they're like, oh, we have a village outsider, we sent her away anyways so she wouldn't get killed, and now she's in here, it could mess up the whole procedure, so we're just gonna end it early. Could have been a reason to stop it. We did do that. That was the lower one with the spider dodge.
そこには最初に手に入った P20 で開く鍵がある。そこで軽く話でもして。
It was pretty chill, but unneeded.
今回はここまで。次も元気に死んでこい。
See ya, sheep. Good talk. So we are probably gonna end it there, but before I forget, let's check out the key description, since that's kind of important. All the way at the bottom. Hunter's confession. By revealing my true self to Kanzo-san, I managed to have a heart-to-heart with him. As a survivor of the 2 previous feasts, the most important thing he told me was, though the feast wasn't over, the mist cleared. That implied 2 things. First, the clearing of the mist can't always be perfectly controlled, and second, that there is definitely a wolf who survived a feast in Yasumizu. Also, I may have grasped some hints on the reason Haru-chan entered Yasumizu 8 years ago and returned alive. Yeah, also they could have just ended the feast early because the mist faded early. I guess that's also an option. I guess I didn't really think about this, but maybe the old wolf guy was a wolf in the previous feast. I don't know how much that would matter, but that kind of alludes to that, since we know no one else could possibly be a wolf from the previous feast, because no one else is alive besides Kanzo who did that, and I believe he was the crow. So, interesting stuff as always. Next time we finally go all the way back to the outhouse and see what's up with that option, so that should be fun. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you next time on some more Raging Loop. Later.